But is he the best player in this draft on his own? Without that.
Please show me a better example of a Bruce Arians quarterback.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Tank Observers podcast. My name's Jackson McCarty, here alongside my co-host Chris Farr. And what are we going to be doing today? Give them a little preview.
Well, first, we're going to talk about some, just draft news. Got to cover that, Dak stories, because he's probably going to get franchise tagged, but, what happens if he doesn't?
Right.
It's exactly what's going to happen. And then we have a whole news segment. Start, bench, cut. And that should be fun.
Yeah, we decided to give it a little bit of a breather on our superlatives because a little bit of fatigue can come into play there, not only on our sides, but I'm sure with the draft coming more and more close, it makes a little bit more sense to focus on the whole grouping rather than just positions. Yeah. And especially with the Combine coming up next week, we're going to have to take a break from it anyways. So kind of giving y'all a couple weeks to refresh and kind of take the load off, and then maybe we'll come back to those wide receiver superlatives. But first off, the Dolphins looking to trade up and the Lions not ruling out the possibility of trading down. What do you think?
Now, the thing with the Dolphins is they're worried about other people wanting Tua, and I'm not sure why, because you look at the teams that are in front of them, and I don't see quarterback need there outside of the Bengals, really, right? I don't see another team, unless, I don't know, maybe the Cowboys maybe the Cowboys think they found a ceiling with Dak.
Stop.
And maybe they want to trade up, throw maybe 2 firsts and, I don't know, maybe this year's third and take that second pick from the Redskins.
No chance would that be the trade that happens. It would have to be Detroit. But I digress.
It's equally possible.
There's no way.
I
don't think Dak's all that good of a quarterback. I've gone on record in saying that. You can ask anybody that's talked to me about Dak Prescott. I don't think he's it. But why? Why would you trade for that pick? That's just not. I don't get it. Just keep Dak.
If they want Tua, if they
guy.
think they found a ceiling with Dak, why not get someone that could potentially be better? And I think Tua could be that guy. And I think maybe that Lions trade, maybe we're talking about maybe the Dolphins trade up to get Tua because they think Cowboys might try to steal him. Is it likely? Probably not. But, I wouldn't rule it out. It'd be an interesting draft day trade that would throw everyone for a loop.
I don't think that it's the Cowboys to be worried about it, but I do think it's the Dolphins having a case of FOMO right now, fear of missing out. I think that they see the Lions being like, hey, we're perfectly okay to do whatever you guys want to do. We're flexible in this situation. And they're just getting scared that the Raiders or the Chargers or the Panthers, or whomever wants to fit that bill is going to try and go get Tua. But Dallas is not – I wouldn't even say Dallas is on the top 10 of that list for me. But
it's a cool idea.
That does make for a nice little segue. Outside of, obviously, the Tua trade that we just talked about, let's say that they do end up letting Dak walk. What do you think they should do? What are your options?
Well, you have a pretty fat free agent class when it comes to quarterback. You don't see it that often that Drew Brees is, let's be honest, he's going to spend this last year with the Saints. If it's his last year, he's spending with the Saints.
The remainder of his career will be in New Orleans. I feel like that's easy money.
Brady would be so cool. Ugh. Never happened in a million years.
Ugh.
And then
that's one of the best fits for him.
You have Jameis.
I love Jameis.
I know you love Jameis. Jameis is your guy. And I don't like Jameis. I think he's so pick prone. I think he's like...
I think I'm just praying that the LASIK worked at this point. Because obviously with the LASIK surgery reported this offseason, he's a 5,000-yard passer.
He's a 5,000-yard passer, 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions.
There's so much arm talent there, though.
He's sketchy. And then you have Mariota, and then it all comes back to Dak. But I think I just told you what would probably be the coolest draft day story ever. They
No,
let Dak
ever.
walk. They trade up to 3. They draft Tua.
It would have to be a sign and trade. It couldn't be.
Why? Why would it have to be a sign and trade?
Because there's no way they're going to let Dak walk for nothing. That was literally their Romo replacement. He won a co-rookie of the year with them. He has been their guy. Jerry Jones has gone on record saying he's in love with the dude. I just don't get it. And I don't think that you pay Zeke if you don't intend to keep that whole core, maybe outside of Amari and or Byron Jones. I think you have to keep those two together.
I don't. But, if you think so, that's you. But I don't I don't like Dak. I didn't like Zeke. They definitely should have extended Amari.
Running backs on the second contract are rarely a good choice. But so you do think the Tua trade is their best option?
I mean, unless they want to trade up, maybe they trade up to 6, grab Herbert. I don't know. Through the draft, Tua, because they can easily take that pick from the Lions. The Lions would love to trade down. They'd have no idea what they want right now. If they trade down, it would just take options off the board for them.
But that's realistic. Like, that's insanely far down. Moving from 3 to 19?
Yeah.
You're eliminating all of the key players. I know there's still opportunity to get some of those guys, but I don't think that...
Listen, I think it would be cool, but probably wouldn't happen. But you're also getting future firsts. And obviously they're future Cowboys firsts, and the Cowboys are just loaded with talent. But we don't know what Tua would do, so maybe they'd do it and be like, hey, maybe Tua's a bust, and we'll get early picks.
Who knows? All right, you ready to start a new segment?
Yeah.
All right, start bench cut.
Yes.
If you haven't played something very familiar to this in junior high school, that general range, we'll explain the rules for you. Start bench cut. We're going to have 3 different names. We're going to keep them all in the same position just to make it a little bit keep the playing field level. You have to pick one, obviously, to start, one to bench, and one to cut. And that's all the rules. That's as far as we got.
It's as simple as it gets.
But for our first one, we're going to start off with quarterback. Feels like kind of an open and shut case. If you put Burrow and Tua in one, that Burrow starting, Tua sitting, or Tua starting, Burrow sitting. So we went for kind of the battle of the third quarterback. We went Herbert, Love, and Eason. What are you thinking, Topher?
Well, I'm sure we have differing opinions here because I just love the potential that I see in one of these guys, and I know that you have a man crush on a few players out of this draft. You have clear favorites. But for the sake of just size, potential, and, he's the quarterback's quarterback. If you took accuracy, if you gave him the skills he needed, Herbert's the guy. But he doesn't have them. He just has the assets.
You basically just
Herbert's
said
the starter.
You basically just said he's big, but he doesn't have skills, Topher.
But Eason has 0 athleticism.
Dude, he has the best. Okay, but he has the skills.
Yeah, but if you send him onto a team that doesn't have an offensive line, he's gonna get killed.
That's why the Colts should take him.
Yeah, the Colts should take him.
God.
But will they? No, probably not.
After this combine, speaking of a little bit of a preview for next week, the combine grades for me and Topher, that's what we'll be doing next week. But the combine coming up, obviously it'll wrap up Monday. I think Eason is going to set the world on fire at the combine.
I think we can all agree that Love is getting cut after the second episode. So let's just discuss the starters and the sitters.
Eason's easily my starter. Easily.
All right, cool. So now that
question.
that's settled, because
Without
apparently we completely disagree here. I love it. But Herbert's gonna run a 4.4, high 4.4, like a 4.48, maybe a 4.52. I don't want to throw that out there. But the guy's also got a cannon. I love him. He needs to start hitting targets more often, but he is super athletic. He's basically Thor.
Man, we see guys at the combine all the time do great there, But it comes down to what you're seeing on the tape. I can't put that much stock into combines. I think that the combine will help both of those players. I know that I did say Eason will become a first-round quarterback because of his combine grade, because everybody else is in love with it for whatever reason. I don't think that that's what makes a good quarterback. I think what makes a good quarterback is what you're seeing on the field, which is why I take Eason as my starter and Herbert on my bench.
It's respectable.
Yeah.
I don't share that opinion.
No, you don't.
But there's no need to dwell on that as we move on to running backs. Another place where you can just take who you don't like. And you know what? Why don't you start? Because I already know who you hate here.
Okay, so we start off the running back. We have Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin, DeAndre Swift out of Georgia, and J.K. Dobbins out of the Ohio State University. Gotta love saying it like that. But
Michael Thomas.
no, if you watched last episode, I don't think it's any secret. I'm gonna cut Jonathan Taylor. I've got to. And it does get a little bit harder for me here because I like Dobbins more as a runner, and I like Swift more as a pass catcher. But I'm going to go with start Dobbins. I think that he is close enough to where Swifty is receiving-wise, or he is closer to where Swifty is receiving-wise than Swifty is close to him on the ground. I think Dobbins is the best running back in this class this year. Well, actually, Zach Moss isn't on this list, but out of these options, I give it to J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we couldn't be on more opposite sides of the spectrum.
Really?
Oh, wow. So I'm gonna start Swifty because I don't like undersized runners in particular. You know, they're not my favorite.
Okay.
He is one. 5'9" is a little short for me.
He's
I don't
Sproulsian.
like when a running back's the same height as me.
He's certainly Sproulsian.
Yes, very Sproulsian, if that's a word. It is now. So then I'm going to sit Taylor, and I'll tell you why. I think the 2 to 3 years that he's going to be great are better than the 5 to 7 years that you can get from Dobbins where he's okay. And I know that sounds strange because I'm looking so short term, but there are teams that need someone like him to just give you that. And there's teams, if he goes to a team like the Chiefs, he might not even get that much usage. So they might just like stretch that. They could stretch that. They could stretch that from 2 to 3 to maybe 4 to 5 years if they use him right. Mm-hmm. So I think that his talent and vision could separate him in that way. And then I'm going to sit Dobbins. And it's not that I don't like him. He's a great runner.
Cut Dobbins, you mean?
Cut. Yeah, he's getting cut, not sat. So he's getting cut, and I hate to do it because the Ohio State University produces the best running backs.
Yes.
But
without question,
he just doesn't make the cut. He's out.
So I don't see eye to eye with the Jonathan Taylor thing. Obviously, I think that I go back and watch the last episode actually if you want to hear what I think about that one. But
I didn't exactly use the nicest words either. I'm just giving you my opinion here. I think you can get some really good years out of him.
So next up, we're gonna do what is 2 running backs in the draft class, 1 currently on a team. We're both big advocates that the Houston Texans should go out and get a new running back. We've got 2 we think they can get with either their second or their third round pick, and 1 currently on the roster. Topher, you're choosing between Carlos Hyde, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Zach Moss.
Easy start here. I'm going to go Zach Moss as the starter. We all know how much you like him, but you know he just has this freak ability to just drop people with his arm, and the guy, he's a monster.
Yeah.
And you know the work that they did to their offensive line, he has no reason not to thrive in Houston. So, that being said, definitely my starter.
Yeah.
Second, we're going with we were talking about the Ohio State, so we're gonna put Carlos Hyde back on the roster, and you know the work that he did there, you know he can catch, he can do everything that they need him to do because Deshaun Watson loves to run around, so he was a great outlet this year. He put up almost 900 yards or something on the ground.
He had very good usage.
Yeah, so you know no reason to fix what's not broken. except for the fact that he's turning 30. So getting Zach Moss would be very smart.
Yes, very much so.
And finally, we unfortunately have to cut the LSU product, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's awesome. Not saying that he's not. He looked great next to Burrow. But I did like what I saw from Carlos this year. And we both love Zach.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make the cut.
It's undeniable. And this is the first time, I believe, out of our 3 that we've done so far, that I completely agree with you. I think Carlos Hyde makes more sense to keep on the roster, a veteran back. I don't think you're going to find a better running back that late in the draft than Zach Moss. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I do think he's going to be a solid running back, but I'm not sure that he'll ever be a starter, like a full-time starter. He's going to have some kind of piece next to him. Whereas Zach Moss, I can see taking over. I really can.
Yes, I remember you stressing that he has the most likelihood to be a number 1 back, and every down back, that is.
Yeah, and I stand true to it. Only a week's passed, but it still looks like a good opinion to me. All right, moving on to wide receivers. We're going with the 3, feels like solidified best receivers in this class. Jerry Jeudy out of the University of Alabama, CeeDee Lamb out of the University of Oklahoma, and then another Alabama boy in Henry Ruggs.
I'll take this one again. Why not?
Go for it.
I'd like to add some intrigue to this, but the start bench cut is it's simply just Jeudy, Lamb, Ruggs. Ruggs he's so fast, but when it comes to usage in the NFL, a team could add a Deshaun Jackson piece. I love that comp.
Yeah.
I like to compare Ruggs to Jackson because he can do exactly what he did for Vic on the Eagles there.
I have a Deshaun Jackson, receiver, but he doesn't come till our next pick.
Oh, yeah, of course you do. But he's speedy, but I keep saying but. And, it's just how it is. Jeudy is my start because he is Jerry Jeudy, and he is the most talked about receiver out of this class, except for maybe Lamb, who's my bench, who's probably one of the best jump ball guys out of this class. 6'4", he's just
without a doubt.
He's huge. He climbs the ladder, picks the ball out of the air, comes back down with both feet in bounds. And then, you're cutting Ruggs.
Leaves the odd man out.
Yeah. And he's really good. Just
a lot of these aren't even really for lack of talent on the end. It's just a lack of space. Like Henry Ruggs, I do fully believe that he is the 3rd best receiver in this class. I don't think he's anywhere near the top 2 though.
It's a steep drop.
Oh yeah. And that is not even. It's still a very good receiver class.
It's not a knock on the other receivers. It's just that Jeudy and Lamb are that much better.
They're uber talented, and I can't even change your list. I think Jerry Jeudy is far and away my favorite receiver that I've seen in probably since Mike Evans. I really liked Mike Evans coming out of college, and I think Jerry Jeudy might be my favorite receiver since that draft. And CeeDee Lamb, I don't think there's any argument that he can be cut. I can't see it. So,
no.
There's no adjustment to make.
No, there really isn't. But you might be able to adjust my next list. Or maybe not, because we're going back to receivers. And frankly, all things considered, for some people, this might be the next 4, 5, 6, but it's probably not. It's not my next 4, 5, 6.
No,
but we're
Chenault's
going
not
to be
in it.
throwing Rager, Hamler, and Jefferson. They're all the slot receivers.
Yes.
And those are the top slot receivers, at least. And
Ruggs will probably fit in there at some point, but seeing how we kind of showed off how he's already the 3rd best receiver, it feels kind of obvious that he would have been the starter amongst that group.
Yeah.
But no, I'll go ahead and kick this one off. Jalen Reagor, that's my starter. That's who I referenced being my Deshaun Jackson comparison. I really like Jalen Reagor. I think that he has an underrated jump ball. I really think that he can get physical with some of those corners. He's got speed like no other. He'll be 4.2 something in the 40s. He will be. I don't think there's any denying that. And as far as the rest of it goes, I I think I'm leaning bench Hamler and then cutting Jefferson. I think Hamler's a more dynamic receiver.
I don't know, man. Did you watch the national championship too?
I did, but there's
Justin
a lot
Jefferson-
more than just one game.
Justin Jefferson's he is ridiculous.
If we were doing it off just that game, Delpit, T. Higgins, or not T. Higgins, AJ Terrell, none of those guys would be getting drafted right now. And Isaiah Simmons would be going number 1 overall if it was just based off the natty.
Listen, I still like Delpit. I don't know why you don't. I know he's not much of a tackler, but you don't
I
need
like
to.
it when my defensive backs tackle.
You,
It's kind of important.
Jimmy Ward doesn't tackle, and
I don't
he's
like
about,
Jimmy Ward.
Yeah, he's about to make money though.
And so that doesn't mean anything.
For one thing, yes, it does. You get paid based off talent.
Jermaine Ifedi's about to make money, dude.
No, he's not.
Okay, whatever you say.
Again, DJ Humphries did just get a $45 million extension.
DJ Humphries just cashed out for being average.
Which we might talk about in upcoming episodes, how this free agent market is absolutely destroying all of our mock drafts. But that's for another time.
Yes.
For now, we will be going tight end pairings.
You didn't give us your list, your Rager, Hamler, Jefferson list.
I thought I did. Rager, Jefferson, Hamler.
Okay.
That easy. Because I just told you that national championship game showed some stuff. But think about it, you don't like AJ Terrell just after that game either.
I didn't really like
Yeah.
his tape to begin with. I really didn't.
You can defend yourself all you want, but
I will, because I didn't think he was my 5th best corner at that point. But Clemson also plays a significantly lower base. Like, the ACC is unquestionably less talented than the SEC. And we're seeing Justin Jefferson against SEC talent almost every week. And I wasn't all that impressed with him.
and I guess I'm not gonna lie, Delpit, I used to have him going to the Browns at like 9.
Yeah. I still haven't going to the Browns, but in the 2nd round.
Oh, I have him going Niners at 32. But that's just me. We could do more mock drafts later.
We'll be doing a dueling mock draft at some point. That'll be fun.
But
Next up,
yeah, tight ends.
we're going to go with Cole Kmet out of the University of Notre Dame, Hunter Bryant, the University of Washington, and Thaddeus Moss, the University of Randy.
Oh, you gotta love the LSU boys. They've been everywhere on this draft, haven't they? We talked about Burrow, and he wasn't even in our start bench cut. But
Yeah.
we are going to kick this off by starting Cole Kmet.
Yes.
He is complete. I like my tight ends that can block, and neither of those other two guys can. I'm pointing at my computer like you guys can see it or something. But we will have Thaddeus Moss taking a seat on the bench. And, he doesn't even have, like, that crazy athleticism, but he is always open. Even if he's not open, he still catches it. He's just got great hands.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be sitting Bryant because out of the 3, we're going to be cutting Bryant because out of the 3, he is easily the worst blocker. The guy likes to think he's a wide receiver and doesn't have to block.
Yeah, but I love how he moves in motion.
I'm sure you do.
His routes are nice.
His routes are nice. And frankly,
So
Moss doesn't even have that good of routes.
No.
He just is open. And when he's not open, Burrow throws him the ball sometimes because they need to pick up that down, and he catches it because he can. Moss is my dude, and he's still under Kmet. But Kmet's the best blocker. He's got good hands. He's good on short routes. He's not going to pick up, massive rack yards. But he holds on to the ball. He's not much of a jump ball guy either. Moss is probably the best in the red zone out of these 3.
I don't think Kmet's going anywhere. I think he's my number 1 easily. But I prefer Hunter Bryant here because I think that with how 2 tight end sets are being used far more often in the NFL now,
Yeah.
I think Hunter Bryant makes more sense to have in a 2 tight end set, whereas I think Thad Moss is going to take a lot more time to develop. I wasn't
know
really
about
impressed
that.
with his tape all that much either.
That makes sense. I mean, frankly, a lot of the receivers and frankly some of the defenders purely based off of winning percentage on LSU got kind of saved by Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow, even when the defense allowed a lot of points, still outscored other teams.
Yeah, I think Jamar Chase was far and away the most talented player outside of Joe Burrow in that offense last year. But I think that a lot of them were just benefiting because of how great the other 2 seasons were. And I think Thad Moss was one of the biggest benefiters because he had a great championship game. He did.
He did, yeah.
But he wasn't a standout player for me for most of the season. And
I understand that. His name didn't get called all that much.
exactly. And whenever I had to spend a lot of time with Jacob Eason's tape. And I inadvertently had been scouting Hunter Bryant because he just kind of jumped off the page. Whenever you saw him catching balls, he's so fast for a tight end. He's moving around. He's doing things that you shouldn't be expecting from a tight end. But all the while still managing to block a little bit. He's not the best blocker.
He's a willing blocker. It's like
Yes.
Steph Curry on defense.
Yeah,
Can he
he's
do it? No, but he certainly tries.
Hey, he'll hang out. Sometimes that's enough. But yeah, I'll definitely leave Hunter Bryant here. Going to defensive linemen, so Derek Brown is set. He's not going anywhere. He's the number 1.
No, he's not.
And so I feel like let's take him out because we know he's going to be our start either way. Let's focus on who's the second best, third best, and obviously fourth best. Neville Gallimore, Javon Kinlaw, and Marlon Davidson.
And I know you like Marlon Davidson,
Yes, I do.
but he's getting cut by me. And
That's fair.
you know what it is? The other 2 are kind of 2 different players. Gallimore is a great run stopper. Not necessarily, crazy at throwing centers and guards aside and getting to the quarterback. He's not crazy with that, but I think he's just a very good run stopper, and I think he's going to be kind of set in that role when he gets to the NFL.
Sure.
Take that nose tackle spot. And then Javon Kinlaw, I think, is a clear second best deep tackle.
That's understandable.
Plus, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it. I love the dude's confidence. He just stepped up and was like, "Yeah, I think I could be better than Aaron Donald." Will he? Probably not. Aaron Donald's probably one of the best defensive tackles of all time, and he's in his 6th year. But if you're just gonna walk up to reporters and say that, I like that.
It shows that you've got a little bit of pep in your step and that you're not willing to back down from a challenge.
Dude's got personality.
Yeah, Javon Kinlaw feels like a almost surefire fit here for me. Put him in at number 1 start. I'm going to go ahead and sit Davidson, though.
I had a feeling you were gonna say that.
I like him a lot. We obviously watching Derek Brown, the man we had to disclude from this list because of his far and away superiority. I think Marlon Davidson got covered up a lot. He played next to Derek Brown, and man, he was a wrecker too.
You know what it is?
And that helps.
That's Nick Fairley syndrome. Nick Fairley was a very good defensive tackle.
Yeah,
1st round pick. But he was next to Ndamukong Suh.
exactly.
And maybe Nick Fairley wasn't as great when he was away from Ndamukong. He went to the Saints, got cut, and vanished, which was very upsetting because I would have liked to see more of what he could do by himself. But he was just shadowed.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see a lot of players when they get shadowed.
And not everybody's supposed to be Batman. We have to have some Robins. I think Marlon Davidson will be a perfect Robin to maybe a Calais Campbell if they can get him in a later round. Somebody along the line, some big-bodied nose tackle that he can just kind of hang out next to in a 4-3 and just kind of push through lines.
I don't know if Tyler Davidson, the D tackle on the Saints,
Yep.
I don't know if he got re-signed yet,
I'm not sure.
but I wouldn't mind seeing him next to Sheldon Rankins.
That would be nice. That'd be very nice.
That'd be a nice fit for him.
And with Cam Jordan on the other side,
Exactly.
very formidable.
Marcus
front.
Davenport seems to be coming along, slowly but surely.
So, yeah, that's our set for the defensive line. Next up, edge rushers. We discluded another one, Chase Young.
That's just not fair.
He's easily the best player in the draft, in my opinion. I don't see how these guys are going to be comparing next to him. So we are going to go with A.J. Epinesa, Terrell Lewis, and Clavon Chason. Topher, start us off.
All right. It's honestly kind of a hard choice between Epinesa and Chason for start. And I like Terrell Lewis, but he has a very specific fit,
Yes.
which makes him a little hard to place. I am going to wind up cutting him.
Fair.
Now he's very Patriots.
Very Patriots.
I love saying that. Like, he's so Patriots.
He's the Patriot way.
He is. Guys that can play the inside and the outside. He's roughly like 6'4", 6'5".
Yes.
And, like 280. So he's so versatile. And I really like him. But this is, again, it's one of those things he just doesn't fit onto the list. Because I feel like Epenesa's talent and Chaseon's athleticism, it's a hard tie. I think I'm going to go Chaseon in the end, though.
Okay.
Because, it's kind of like Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary got picked in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps he didn't have all that productive a rookie season.
Right.
And it's a lot because he got over-scouted because of athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even have a lot of production in college.
As a lot of players do.
But I'm still going to go with Chaseon. I'm going to follow the hype instead of beware of it. And I'm going to take him, start him, bench Epinesa, even though he's very talented and very productive.
All right. We've talked about AJ Epinesa, at least on my end. I didn't start off high on Epinesa at all.
No, you didn't.
I didn't like how slow he started the season. I didn't like how just inconsistent he came across. But I've seen myself starting to kind of change my ways. I really have. I'm going to start AJ Epinesa.
That's fair. I mean, I told you, it's very close second or third.
I'm not sure why he started off so slow, but I do know that the season that he had his junior year and then the season he had last year at the end of it, I've seen enough to where I'm like, okay, if I'm Atlanta sitting at 15, 16,
16,
I believe, yes, that I would take AJ over Clavon. With that being said, Clavon does end up on my bench for the same reasons you brought up. Uber talented. He just needs the right fit, maybe a little bit more practice. And then, sorry, Terrell Lewis, I do really enjoy you as a player.
Terrell Lewis, don't get down because we decided that you should go on the bench under these people. Prove us wrong.
Yeah.
And hopefully you get taken by the Patriots. They'll know what to do with you.
There's nothing more Patriots than coming back from being hated on.
That's a fact.
Exactly.
Look at Deatrich Wise. He's on the bench, and he still gets more production than a lot of the ends.
I was thinking maybe the greatest quarterback of all time who was drafted in the 6th round and
Hey, man.
or 24-3.
Sorry about that one. I was a little slow to the jump there.
Deatrich Wise, though. That's
Deatrich Wise, man. He's a killer. Look out for him. He's awesome.
Very interesting example to stick out in your head, but the final one we are going to do today.
He's awesome in Madden.
The final one we're going to do today are the cornerbacks. We've eliminated Okuda and we've eliminated Fulton. Let's find our third best corner. Picking between C.J. Henderson, go Gators, Jeff Gladney, TCU, Damon Arnett, the Ohio State University.
All right, just going to kick it off here with C.J. Henderson. And it has a lot to do with the fact that he's like basically a three-position player. He can play out wide, he can cover safety, or slot corner. And I like that a lot. So I'm starting with him. And frankly, I think out of the three, he's probably the most talented either way.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to be doing there.
Damon Arnett is going to sit. I'm going to sit Damon Arnett, and I'm not particularly high on him, and frankly, I didn't want him as the third option.
You didn't.
Even though I'm sitting him and cutting Gladney, and it's mainly because Gladney's good.
Yes.
And, it's not like he's not talented. But I would have had Trevon Diggs over both of them, but it's his fault.
I don't.
I know you don't. But we're going to Damon Arnett because he's a shutdown slot corner. I like slot corners. I like Damon Arnett. It's not that I didn't like him. There's a very deep corner class. There's a lot of great talent. Yeah. I do think Trevon Diggs is probably the fourth best corner, and he disagrees with me a lot. We got into a heated debate about that.
He's not.
Yeah, I know. Hey, man. Slow your roll. Okay. And I'm cutting Gladney. Not because I don't like him. He's awesome. I think he's a great player.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely probably going to wind up being a solid 2 corner, maybe a reserve to come in for, a secondary star. I don't have anything else to say. I know I trailed off like I might have. I don't.
Yeah. So the only one I'm for sure about right now is that I'm cutting Arnett. I do like Damon Arnett a lot. I think that Ohio State University is defensive backs university.
You fought to have that man on this list. You know, I'm done.
Yeah. I told
You're
you we
up.
could put Trevon Diggs. I told you we could put Trevon Diggs.
And then he would have gotten cut.
Oh, yeah, easily. Without a question. But I'm going to still remain cutting Damon Arnett strictly because I just love the talent level from these other two guys. But I don't know if I want Gladney's just raw power or if I want CJ Henderson's, hey, I can go play 3 or 4 different spots. I can't figure out which one I want.
Honestly, he's kind of big. He might be able to run sub linebacker too. He
don't-
can do whatever he wants.
I don't like that. His frame's not filled out enough.
And I don't know. He's like almost 200 pounds.
Yeah, but he's
He's not going to hit, but he could still take a man down.
He's not going to hit, exactly.
He's going to tackle. He will sacrifice his body to bring down a.
Give me Jeff
big-
Gladney to start. I think he's got plenty of ball skills. I like him in press. I like him in zone. And God, he will lay somebody out. And that's my big thing. You've seen it. You've witnessed it. Delpit's dropped into the second round for me strictly because he was making business decisions all season. I'm going to stick with Gladney. I think Gladney's my man here.
Just because he was playing safe ball doesn't mean he can't hit.
Okay.
He
But I
was
need to see that you can
He
hit.
was playing safe ball knowing that he was maybe not necessarily going to be a surefire first rounder, but he knew he was going to be a high pick, and he knew that he got to the NFL, he could ball.
Joe Burrow could have sat the championship game out.
He could have, but Joe Burrow also scrambled a lot during the championship game against Isaiah Simmons.
You want to know why?
Because he's a baller.
Because he plays with heart.
He's a baller.
Jeff Gladney plays with the kind of heart I want on my team.
I still like Delpit. That's
Yeah.
just me.
Hey, you can
I
like
think he's
whoever you
more
want.
talented than Xavier McKinney. Might not hit as hard, or at least we haven't seen him hit as hard. But that being said, I am a huge fan of his. You know, it's just that's just me.
So that's fair. But all right, that concludes the first episode of Start Bench Cut. I'm sure that this will be making its way back to you guys at some point in the future. But all right, that's it for today. My name's Jackson McCarty.
And I am Chris Spar.
We'll see you guys next time.